Hello friends. So in continuation with earlier lectures, today we are going to study methods of vibration analysis. But before that, we are going to study what are the types of vibrations. Okay. So there are different categories of classification of the vibrations. First, free and force vibration. If no external force is acting on the system and vibrations are taking place, that is a free vibration. And if external force is acting on the system, because of that one vibrations are taking place, that is a forced vibrations. Second category is linear and non-linear vibrations. You know that there are three elements of the any vibratory system: mass, spring and damper. So if mass, spring and damper behave linearly with each other, that is known as a linear vibration. And if there is a non-linear relationship between these three elements, that is a non-linear vibrations. For our syllabus, we are going to, there is only linear vibration. There are no non-linear vibrations. That is, PG students are going to study non-linear vibrations. Okay. Third is damped and undamped vibrations. Okay. So if damping is present, that is known as a damped vibration. If external damping is not present, that is known as a undamped vibration. Fourth category is longitudinal, transverse and torsional vibrations. It depends on the direction of vibrations. If vibrations are taking place along the axis of the object, then that is known as a longitudinal vibrations. If vibrations are taking place perpendicular to the longitudinal axis, that is known as a transverse vibrations. And if the vibrations are in the form of twisting and untwisting, like a torque, okay, so that is known as a torsional vibrations. Okay. Examples we will see when we are going to study these in detail: longitudinal, transverse and torsional vibrations. The fifth category is steady state and transient vibrations. When the amplitude of vibrations is steady, is constant, that is known as a steady state vibration. This we are going to study in unit number 2 in forced vibrations. And transient vibrations means it's a real-time vibrations. The amplitude is going to reduce in every cycle. So that is known as a transient vibrations. So for our syllabus, we are going to study free and forced vibrations, linear vibrations, damped and undamped vibrations, longitudinal, transverse and torsional vibrations, and also steady state vibrations. Okay. Now let us see methods of vibration analysis. What do you mean by vibration analysis? There are two objectives of any vibration analysis. First, you have to estimate equation of motion, and second thing, you have to find out natural frequency. Okay. So there are three methods by means of which we can derive the equation of motion and find out natural frequency of a vibratory system. The first method is energy method. According to this method, the sum of energies associated with the system is constant. What are those two energies? Mechanical energies, kinetic energy and potential energy. So according to the law of conservation of energy, kinetic energy plus potential energy associated with any system is always constant. It will just convert from kinetic energy to potential energy or potential energy to kinetic energy, but sum of it is constant. So if we take the derivative of this sum, so that will be equal to 0. So what is the kinetic energy? It is given by 1/2 mx dot square, where x dot is the velocity. And what is the potential energy? 1/2 k x square. Okay. So derivative of summation of these two energies must be equal to 0, because the derivative of constant is 0. So let us derive this. 1/2 m constant. So the derivative of x dot square is 2 x dot x double dot. Okay. What is the derivative of this term? 1/2 k constant, x square derivation 2 k x x dot is equal to 0. So all these, the x dot will be cancelled from both the terms. So what is remaining now? M x double dot plus kx is equal to 0. This is the equation of motion for undamped free vibrations. So mx double dot represent inertia force, kx represent spring force. So there are only two forces associated with undamped free vibrations. Okay. So if we consider, if we write this equation in this format, x double dot plus k upon m, x is equal to 0. So I already told you that coefficient of x is representing omega n square. So omega n is equal to square root of k upon m. So if we speak in terms of linear frequency f, that is equal to 1 upon 2 pi into omega n. That is 1 upon 2 pi square root of k upon m. Okay. So this is the first method. Now, second method is Rayleigh method. Okay. So this is again the energy method only, but this method is the extension of the energy method. It is based on the principle that total energy of the vibratory system is equal to either maximum potential energy or maximum kinetic energy. When we say maximum potential energy, in that case kinetic energy is 0, or when we say maximum kinetic energy, in that case potential energy is 0. So at any moment the total energy is either kinetic energy or potential energy or sum of the both. Okay. So total energy is equal to kinetic energy maximum, that is equal to kinetic energy potential energy maximum. Okay. So what is the kinetic energy equation? 1/2 mx dot square maximum is equal to 1/2 kx square maximum. Okay. Now what is, we already seen that x represent the displacement of simple harmonic motion. So x is equal to capital A sin omega t. So what is x dot? Derivation of x, a omega cos omega t. So putting the value of x and x dot into kinetic energy and potential energy. So this equation will become 1/2 m as it is. Put the value of x dot, that is a omega cos omega t bracket square maximum is equal to 1/2 k as it is. Put the value of x, that is a sin omega t square maximum. Now maximum means what? Maximum value of this kinetic energy. That means it happens when cos omega t is equal to 1. That's why putting the value of cos omega t is equal to 1, we will be getting 1/2 m a square omega square is equal to, here also, what is the maximum value of this potential energy? It happens when sin omega t is equal to 1. So putting sin omega t is equal to 1, we will get 1/2 k a square. So from both the sides, a square and 1/2 will be getting cancelled. So what is remaining? M omega square is equal to k. That means omega is equal to square root of k upon m. So we get the same natural frequency. Fn is equal to 1 upon 2 pi square root of k upon m. Okay. Now the third method, which is very important, and major problems are solved by this equilibrium method. There are 2-3 names of this method. FBD method, that is free body diagram method, or Newton's second law method, or D'Alembert's principle method, or it is also known as a derivation of differential equation. Okay. So see, this is our basic system. There is a spring having stiffness K. There is a mass having mass M. Okay. So now this system is shown in equilibrium position in diagram A. So if you want to draw the free body diagram of this equilibrium condition, what are the forces acting on this mass? See, because of mass, there is a certain weight of this mass. So that will be acting downward. And as because of this mass, the spring is somewhat deflected. That is known as the static deflation of the spring. So spring force will be acting upward. That is magnitude is K into delta, where delta is the static deflation of the spring. So this is the free body diagram in the equilibrium condition. So what are the forces acting on this? Mg and K delta, which always neutralize with each other. So Mg is equal to K delta. Okay. Now let us consider that we want to vibrate this object. Okay. So what I will do, I want free vibrations. Okay, but I have to disturb the system. As it is not going to vibrate. So I will pull this mass downward by certain amount x and release the force. Okay, what will happen? This mass will vibrate up and down about this equilibrium position. Okay, so consider any moment, say at any time t or at any instant, mass has displaced by position x. Okay, so we have to draw the free body diagram for this condition now. So this is known as a free body diagram in the displaced position. Free body diagram at displaced position. So what are the forces acting on this mass now? Mg is there, K delta plus X, because apart from this delta, now spring has displaced by X amount also. So what is the total deflection of the spring? X plus delta. Okay. So what is the spring force? K into bracket X plus delta. And now as this is the simple harmonic motion, acceleration comes into picture. So mass also we are going to consider, acceleration is also present. So there comes inertia force. Okay. So this is inertia force mx double dot, m into a, that is a Newton's second law, force into acceleration. So in which direction it is acting? It is always acting in the direction of motion. So m is moving down at this instant. So mx double dot is downward at this instant. So there are three forces acting. Okay. Now I have to apply Newton's second law. See, applying Newton's second law. What is the Newton's second law? Inertia force is equal to summation of all the forces. Now here you have to consider the sign convention. So say downward direction, I am considering positive for inertia force. So for remaining forces also you have to consider the same sign convention. That means downward positive. Okay. Now inertia force, it is mx double dot, which is acting downward, is equal to remaining all forces. You have to write down according to their sign convention. Mg is acting downward, so mg positive, and spring force is upward, so we have to write down minus k x plus delta. So these are the forces here. Okay. So all these three forces we have written by applying Newton's second law. So mx double dot is equal to mg minus k into bracket x plus delta. Okay, open this bracket. So mx double dot is equal to mg minus kx minus k delta. Now already we have talked about mg minus k delta is 0. Okay, these are the two forces when body is in equilibrium. So in equilibrium position, there are only two forces acting on the system. Mg is equal to k delta, that is always neutralized with each other. So mg minus k delta is 0. So what are the remaining forces? Mx double dot is equal to minus kx. Take this term on left hand side. So your equation of motion will be mx double dot plus kx is equal to 0. Okay. So this is the equation of motion of undamped free vibration. Again, how to find out natural frequency from this equation? Take m on this side. So coefficient of x is k upon m. So omega n is given by square root of k upon m. Okay. So this is the these are the three methods to determine the natural frequency and also to estimate the equation of motion. Okay. Now let us see the angular motion example. So vibratory system having angular motion, that is simple pendulum. Okay. So here this is the equilibrium position of the simple pendulum, that is in vertical condition. Okay. Now I want to create the vibrations for this simple pendulum. So I will apply the torque. Okay, I will take this bob towards right and release it. So that means force is applied only initially to create the vibrations. Okay, so when you release this simple pendulum will vibrate about this mean position. So theta represent the displacement. Okay, now at any time t, theta is the displacement. So what is this inertia torque here? You know, inertia torque is I into alpha. So here we don't use alpha, we use theta double dot. Theta is the angular displacement, theta dot is angular velocity, and theta double dot is angular acceleration. So IO is the mass moment of inertia of this bob about this O, and theta double dot is the angular acceleration. So this is inertia torque acting in the anti-clockwise direction. Vibrations are taking place about this point O. So we have to take moment of all the forces present about this O. Now why we have to take here moment? Because this is the angular motion. We should not consider force. We have to consider moment here. Okay. So draw the, now what are the, again you have to apply the Newton's second law of motion. What are the different forces acting? Mg and inertia force. Okay. So taking moment about O. Okay. You have to write down Newton's second law. So applying Newton's second law. inertia torque is equal to summation of all the torques. Now here, as it is an angular motion, force term is replaced by torque or moment. So again I have to consider the direction. So here I am assuming anti-clockwise positive. Okay, so here also I have to assume anti-clockwise positive. Okay, usually the direction of inertia torque or inertia force is, we assume the positive. That simplifies our equation. So IO theta double dot is inertia torque is equal to, what are the remaining forces? There is only one force, that is due to gravity. So minus, it is minus because this is acting in the clockwise direction. See, mg, the moment of mg about this O, so it is clockwise. Okay, so what is the moment force into this distance? What is the force? Mg. How much is the distance? L. See, length of this string is L. So this distance represent L sine theta. Simple geometry, simple trigonometry. Okay, so mg into L sine theta. This is the torque. So as theta is very small, we always take sine theta is equal to theta and cos theta is equal to 1. So IO theta double dot is equal to minus mg L theta. Take this on left hand side. So IO theta double dot plus mg L theta is equal to 0. Okay, but what is the value of IO, which is mass moment of inertia of point O, that is ml square. So put the value of IO here. So theta double dot plus mgl upon ml square into theta is equal to 0. So as you know, this is the equation of simple harmonic motion. So coefficient of theta represents the natural frequency. So what is this m will get cancelled, L will get cancelled. So what is remaining? G upon L brackets. So omega n is equal to square root of G upon L. Or if you write down in terms of natural frequency, Fn is equal to 1 upon 2 pi square root of G upon L. Okay, so this is your natural frequency. Okay, now just see what is the analogy between linear system and torsional system. Okay, using the same procedure we can analyze torsional system also. So displacement, here it is, first column represent description, second column represent linear system, third column represent, this is torsional system symbol. Okay, so displacement for linear system we represent by x in meter or mm. In torsional system we represent by theta in radian. Velocity x dot meter per second, theta dot radian per second. Acceleration x double dot in meter per second square, theta double dot in radian per second square. Inertia, mass, in linear system we always consider mass, which is in kg, and in torsional system we always consider I, that is mass moment of inertia, in kg meter square. Okay, then stiffness, in linear system it is K in Newton per meter. In torsional system we use KT, T is the suffix, KT in Newton meter per radian. Then inertia force or inertia torque. So in linear system it is a force, inertia force given by mx double dot in Newton. In torsional system it is given by, it is inertia torque, that is I theta double dot, that is Newton meter. Then what is the kinetic energy in linear system? 1/2 mx dot square in Newton meter. In torsional system, kinetic energy is given by 1/2 I theta dot square in Newton meter. So m is replaced by I and x dot is replaced by theta dot. Similarly, potential energy in linear system it is 1/2 kx square Newton meter, and for torsional 1/2 kt theta square Newton meter. So here k is replaced by kt, x is replaced by theta. Now what is the natural frequency for linear system? For a simple spring mass system, omega n is equal to square root of k upon m radian per second. For torsional system, k is replaced by kt, m is replaced by I. So it is square root of kt upon I radian per second. Okay. Now I told you that how you have considered PE is equal to, potential energy is equal to 1/2 kx square. This is the explanation. See, if you draw the graph of force versus displacement for any spring action, okay, you know it's a linear relationship. Okay, so potential energy for spring is given by force into displacement. What is the force? It is the average force you have to consider, because initially it is 0, okay, before vibrations, and after that it is P. Okay, and it is a constant throughout this one. So we are considering the average force. So what is the average force? 1/2 0 plus P into displacement is X. So this is the displacement of the spring and this is the force P. Okay. So it is 1/2 P into X. This is the potential energy. But we know that for the spring, K is equal to P upon X. Oh my God, shit. काय हो मावशी एका मिनिटासाठी माझं सगळं गेलं काय